Go ahead. Clean that dirty lens. Hang on. I was talking to my buddy David. Oop, wrong button. Sorry, guys. What's going on? David, your knives did show up. I just hadn't told you. I haven't even opened the box yet. There's so much stuff here right now. Like literally, I have 2 boxes on top of yours that are the same size that showed up before yours. No, David, I will not be going to, I won't be going. Blade Banner, I will not be going to Blade Show. That's something I'm not going to get into really the details of it, but running a little late this morning because Nico and Bridget came over last night and they hung out till, they didn't leave here till almost 10. So, and then I had to clean up the mess from, because you guys know the pasta sauce I was making was because Bridget and Nico were coming. So, but no, I will not be going to Blade Show. We had somebody that had promised us tickets and lodging, and it never came to fruition. So, the pasta sauce came out great. It didn't come out the same as the last batch I made. The last batch I made, I used actual fresh tomatoes. And I cooked them and then crushed them up, and I couldn't, you had to peel them, and there's a trick to peeling tomato too. That's what my torch came in handy for. So I just used some canned tomatoes. You saw Isabel crushing them up in the video, but they were actually you saw it in the Instagram. But so I didn't get, by the time I cleaned up supper, the mess and all that, we didn't go to bed until almost midnight. And then I got up when the wife and kid got up to go skating this morning at like fucking 3:30. And then I went back to sleep and just woke up here I think I woke up at 7 when my wife got back. So I woke back up at 7. But I've been busy sending emails. I have a Microtech to take apart. Let's see if I got to see if all of my tools fit it, because I think the pivot, I don't think I'm going to be able to get the pivot. The pivot is a different size than my DOC. So, let's see. What's going on? I can't think of anything else going on. I carried this. Jesus, it's heavy. But the other thing too is I haven't started sharpening yet because it's 54 degrees and it's not raining at the moment, but it was raining hard enough that it was raining at an angle. And I went out to see if I could even do it, and there's just rain coming. It was that sideways rain, that Forrest Gump sideways rain. I did see your text, and Ben, I was getting ready to text you back. I have not looked at buying a straight razor in years. So I honestly don't think that I have a good, I don't think I have a good opinion right now on what would be a good, no, it's not normal for San Diego. Usually this time of year, it's like, 68 degrees by now. It's a nice sunny day. I'm outside, I'm sharpening. I'm like, I can take this off. Not today. It's 56 degrees outside, but the sun is trying to come out. So I'm hoping that I can get out there because, like I said, guys, I can't do it in the house. You guys see the mess that it makes. I can't do it in the house. I have people like, I sharpen all the time in the house. I sharpen on the kitchen counter. Good for you. You probably aren't doing it the same way I'm doing it. It makes a fucking mess. And there's gritty shit all over the counter. And no, I can't grow anything back. We can't even grow grass. And I mean like not weed. I mean like grass on the ground. Like you can't even grow it here in this yard because the way the light hits it all day, it just burns stuff up. You can't, there's not, like even the areas that don't have like the fake carpet down that's fucking ruined and is coming apart. It's, what's up, Jeremy? There's nothing growing out there. Nothing grows, even with the rain, except like fucking shit you don't want to grow. It's because the way the light hits, we've got windows down this side of the house, especially this big sliding door. And so the sun hits it from different angles all day and then comes off of that at times during the day. It comes off these windows and it just focuses on that. And it just, that's why it's so hot out there in that yard. There's just no shade ever in that yard. That's why I started doing videos in here, because the light is just, it's overpowering out there most of the time, unless I've got a nice, I love it when it's a nice cloudy overcast day, because you get the diffused light and I can use the light above to get rid of shadows. If not, it's just, it overpowers the, yeah, it just overpowers the camera on the thing. Tammy's here. I'm still playing with this. This is getting smoother. It's like, I think if I just keep playing with it and working that action in, I think I can get it drop shut. And I didn't put near as much, there's not near as much lock bar tension. Still good detent, but not as much lock bar tension, so it's a lot smoother. Remember me talking about Arius and things like that? There was something I was going to talk about this morning, and oh, I know what I was going to talk about. I had a guy reach out to me, and I'm hoping he's watching. I'm going to respond to him. I refinished a ZT for him, and now it's got lock rock. And he was asking me if I knew what could have caused it. So I will tell him, so we're at 638. Let me write that down, 638. So I can tell him where to find it on this live feed where I start talking about it. So lock rock can be caused by 638. So I'm going to answer his question right now. So there's several things that can cause lock rock. The majority of the time, lock rock you'll get is pivot, loose pivot. This pivot has walked its way a little bit loose because I didn't Loctite it. So a lot of times, if you have your pivot loose, what it allows it to do is it allows the blade to move a little bit, and then your lock bar insert and your lockup position's not correct, and you get some play, some rattle that way. If your blade is going this way, it's 100% your pivot. This has got a little tiny bit, but I'm like really, really trying to put it in there. So that could be it. There's a second thing that can cause blade play this way. It could be your pivot, because like I said, it gets off of the position where the lock bar is supposed to meet, where your lock interface is supposed to meet. And so it's moved one way or the other, and it allows it to move back and forth. So if you tighten your pivot, but you still have this tip this way, bang, 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 like a maraca, like you shake it and you can hear it. The next thing it could be, check the screws on your lock bar insert. If it's moved and shifted, it's not locking up properly, and it allows some rattle and some play. If both of those are not the problem, now you have one that's a little more serious. But you can kind of adjust it, and you can see I did it on this. So there's a spot where that hits your stop pin. And if that has deformed, either blade or pin or both, what happens is now you've got some movement this way, and it gets worse over time. So what you can do is you can take the knife apart and you take that stop pin and you can rotate it to a clean spot on that stop pin and see if that resolves your issue. If it does not, and you look and you can see that there's a spot inside here where the blade, let me actually turn this around and I can show you two of the things. Yes, you guys are on a box of wine now. So it could be down in here. You can see where that's starting to get shiny, where this is striking right there. If that gets deformed, that's going to allow you some play. Now, if you rotate that stop pin a little bit and you've tightened your pivot and you've checked your lock bar insert, you need a new stop pin. I don't care what anybody says. Most people do not, you're not going to resolve your issue with that little bit of blade play unless it's just obviously horrible by putting in a new lock bar insert. The way 99% of companies resolve this is they take that stop pin, they get one that's a little bit bigger, and then they bore that out just a little bit to get it to match. But then since that is in a different position here, they have to take a little bit of material out here so that you can get to your detent. But what's going to happen is, because you've changed that a little bit, that tip's going to start standing up. Elliot has replaced stop pins on 2 of my knives now because it just happens. So that's how most people do it. If you've got a Strider, because they have external stop pins, they have a larger cover or a larger piece that goes on there, and it screws on, and then that adjusts your stop position. And since it doesn't affect the close position on those knives, because there's a different thing, and I can show you on a DOC sometime. I could show you right now. I've got my DOC, give me a second, because it's basically the same thing. So if you have an external stop pin, if you have external stop pins where they hit here, and then you start getting that play, well, they'll put larger ones on, but you don't have to worry about, because this does not set your stop position. It doesn't touch. What touches is this. It hits your backspacer here on this knife. A lot of knives are like that. A lot of knives that have external stop pins also have a full backspacer, and the backspacer acts as your blade stop because it's got a high spot that allows it to touch so it doesn't hit the rest of the backspacer. So if you have checked your pivot and you've checked your lock bar insert to make sure it's good and tight and hasn't shifted a little bit, and you twist, you spin your stop pin, you're probably gonna have to send it in for them to either they'll put an oversized stop pin in. A lot of places what they'll do is they'll just replace the blade and the stop pin, and then you have a brand new fit. Some companies have stop pins that are notoriously soft. I just never seen a ZT really have a stop pin go bad, but there's some companies that, I'm not gonna throw them out there, but there's some companies that make flippers, and then within not too many years, you've got like some serious. There's a rattle in there, but that's because I didn't tighten down the pin on this. So does that make sense, guys? So 6 minutes and 38 seconds. That's when the live feed. What's everybody else doing? This is only gonna be like 30 minutes because it's stopped raining, and I'm hoping everything's gonna start drying up, and I've got to go wipe the workbench off, and it's a mess because there's dirt all over the workbench. And so when it rains, I don't know if I told you guys, I need to get a new top for this canopy because it does not do anything to stop rain. It gives me shade and keeps the sun off me so I don't get sunburned, but it does not stop the rain. The thing is just so old that it rains through it. So my workbench has got puddles of water all over it. I don't think we're gonna get rid of this rain anytime soon. Because it looks like it's getting ready to rain again. If it starts raining again, there might not be any sharpening today. I might just catch up. I have to do payroll. I got to do a couple things. I got to get a hold of the franchise tax board, and I have to pay a couple bills. So that might be something I do today. But the sun's trying to come out. So, but I was looking at it, and it's looking like it's gonna rain. So. Phil, debating the next knife. Debating your next knife. There's a couple really nice knives out there. Oh, and so that you guys know, I wanted to address something. I got an email from Jerry Home Designs, the guy that made that Bally. And so I had a couple things wrong. They're not hand ground. They are machine ground. But they are hand finished, and you can pick your options. You can pick whatever you want. They're hand sharpened, but they do not run on caged bearings. They run on precision fit bushings that I don't really know they're precision machine bushings that are in there. They probably are. There are some bushings you can get that are not the phosphor bronze, that super high lubricity. That really work really well without any lubrication. Stearite was one of the things that they used to use on gun systems that was really super hard, really wear resistant, but really slick And so those surfaces, two stearate surfaces together, were super frictionless. And I know there's some other coatings, like Microtech was using a coating like that they use in engines. I think titanium nitride is another one of those coatings that gives you that lubricity. Even it's really hard, it's really wear resistant, but it's slick. So really didn't. I mean, he sent me an email. It was really vague. It's just so that people know. So just so you guys know. But well, it looks like it might. If it looks like it's gonna dry up and shit, I will go out there. But it's still puddled up and leaking through my canopy, and I'm like, you know what? I don't feel like getting rained on today. Not when it's not even 60 degrees yet. So let's see. Anything else? I should probably close these cupboards. I never understood until I had the cabinets down for the summer and Nico was working on them and my wife was gone and everything in the cupboard, fucking everything was dirty. And I was like, what the fuck is... She's always bitching and complaining about leaving, oh, where's the cupboard door? Where's the cupboard door open? But I had these cupboard doors down and I would cook and everything would get coated with that oil from above the stove. And I mean, you can feel it. There's a coating of oil on especially the ones above the stove. I don't have like a range hood that catches anything. It's a really poorly designed thing. So one is in Copenhagen, the other is in Swedish Customs. God, I hope you don't have any problems with customs. I really do. I really hope we have no problems. So does that mean that one has went further than the other? Shouldn't have been. They both should be there at the same time. That's silly. That's just silliness. Okay. You know what? I haven't carried this in a while. I think I'll carry this today. That's to be my carry today. Pull this out of my pocket. You've been riding in my pocket for too long anyway. Stop bogarting pocket time. I just need a pair of pants where I can carry everything. I'm so heavy. I haven't even sharpened it yet. I'm gonna probably sharpen it today. I have not settled on a price yet because here's the thing. I gotta figure out like what the time is. This one's just better balanced, more comfortable in hand, and more utilitarian. This would be something that I would carry in a shitty neighborhood. And I love this knife. I've had it for years. This was the first YouTube video I did on this channel. My old channel, I took it down because, well, we talked about that. But this was the first knife that was featured in a video on this YouTube channel. So, nope, starting to rain again. Ooh, them some big fat jungle drops. You see how I got cloud, how it got dark? I have a sneaking suspicion there's not going to be a lot done. Maybe I'm at... Actually, I think they're pretty comparable in size. Hang on a second. Let me go check. I think they're pretty close. I think they're pretty close, actually. Zero that thing. So the DOC is 7 5/8 ounce. And this one's 7.5. So they're pretty much the same. This one's just ever so slightly heavier than this one, but it's the profile. It's the profile of it that sits different. And the pocket clips are, guys, the pocket clips on them are pretty similar in retention and everything, but this one sits lower, this one sits a good bit higher, and the weight distribution is just different. Yeah, because what you get is the blade is huge. So, like, yeah, so this is a 7 ounce, 7.5 or 7 5/8 ounce aluminum handled knife. Yeah, 7 5/8, 7 1/2. 5 3/4. So 5 3/4 for a fixed blade versus those two folders, which are heavier. This is another reason I like fixed blades. Guys, I dropped this and cracked the mother of pearl on my daughter's knife. Not a big crack, it's just like a little chip, like a dirty spot. It didn't go all the way through, it's in like one little spot. Actually, you know what? That might have already been there. No, that was already there. That's just a blemish. I'm gonna stop carrying that because it's hers, and I don't want to. Because I can't fix. I can't fix that. If that handle, if I crack that fucking mother of pearl and it breaks off, I can't fix that. It's all pinned. And there's just no way I would ever get a piece of mother of pearl because it's dovetailed. It's dovetailed into the bolster. There's just no way I would ever be able to do that because this is one piece. And then these are pinned. So this design, I'm gonna tell you right now, I found that out, I was looking at it. That design is where he had the pins in it and then cut them off and then made it fancy. There's pins in it. Those are pins. You can, if you find it real close, you can see the line where the pins are, where he just took all that material and smoothed it off. It's probably those, I can't think of the name of those screws that you get, where you screw them in, so they're skinny and then they're fat, and then you just cut them off flush. You use a flathead screwdriver. That's probably what, they're not Chicago screws, I can't think what they're called. But yeah, I'm gonna quit playing with this because it's my daughter's, so that's gonna probably, yes, Corby bolts, thank you. Could not think of it. Could not for the life of me think of it. I've never used them. I've seen them and I was like, those look like a good idea, but I like the idea. I liked the idea of removable hardware, but I think I'm gonna go back to pinning some of the Hornets and some of the knives I make because the fact is it's a cleaner finish, it's a cleaner look, and in all honesty, there's no, for 99% of you guys, really, how much are you gonna have them underwater? The point of making them removable hardware was because I made a few that went to guys, you know, in special forces that were gonna be wet and dirty and stuff like that all the time. And I was like, you know, it would probably be advantageous to be able to take those handles off, clean underneath them, and then put them back. But the thing is, I haven't had any of those guys approach me about making a knife in a while because, you know, it's just been, hasn't been something those guys need. And a lot of those guys that know me know that the production model's coming out, and they're like, you know, I already told them, I was like, guys, the production model's gonna be as good. It just won't have the thickness of the tip, but it's not gonna, probably not gonna cost you near as much as having me make one. And so it's not that I don't want to make knives. I just, guys, I haven't even had time to start one. I haven't even ordered belts because my weekends have been spent doing refinishing and fucking stuff. Like I said, the only reason I'm not out there right now tearing into those boxes and starting to sharpen is it's cold in here. And I know it's colder out there and it's fucking raining. So I only do pins. There's a lot of materials available in pin stock nowadays. Yeah, and here's the thing. We've got stuff that I can make. My thought process on my next knife that I was gonna make for the next guy is, these are gonna just be holes through. So the pins are gonna be hollow. And it's just gonna be, or two of them will be, and then this one would work as a lanyard hole. So these would be solid, and then this third one would just be a brass tube. And then I would grind it off flush and then shape the handles. That's the thing though. Therein lies the rub. You've got to be able to refinish the handles. There's a plus and minus. Removable hardware, I can do all of the surfacing and stuff with the handle by itself. Pinned, can't do that with pinned. Pinned, you do your final stuff on your final stuff on the grinder or the Scotch-Brite, and if you screw up the finish on the back of the blade, you're screwed. You just have to refinish the whole blade that way. So I forgot about that. It might not do it that way. What's up, Bill? So I had a couple people that donated to the GoFundMe. I'm just kind of waiting for that to kind of peter out a little bit, so that, because I'm gonna do a video and just thank all the people that have donated to the GoFundMe. So, guys, I think I'm gonna get off of here. I had a video that I was gonna shoot. I can't remember. I had a video that I had in my head that I was gonna shoot. Now I can't remember what it was gonna be. It was, I fucking get. Well, no, I do know what it is, and we already addressed it at 6 minutes and 38 seconds. It was about blade play. Ooh, it's getting windy too. Well, at least 2 water stones that are on the end of the table workbench here, where it's raining in on it, we'll do you know, see, the thing is, a lot of times I will do a tumbled spine, like the whole knife got tumbled, and then if you screw that up, then you guys got to do a Scotch-Brite satin down the entire spine, and then because you can't, it's not like you can take it back. Now I have done a couple where I pinned them and then I blasted everything, the handle, the spine, everything, and then took the actual blade and I taped off the handle and I used the Scotch-Brite belt. But you can really, I'm gonna tell you right now, if you're doing it that way, if you've already grounded edge, you would be surprised at how aggressive a Scotch-Brite is when it's rotated. You can fuck your edge up. Like, you can have a low spot, like you can recurve. I did that with a knife. It was just like a prototype. I was prototyping something. It was one of the ones that had the whole, you guys ever remember seeing the ones that I did? I did like 3 of them that had a groove cut down the handle, and I wrapped it with line, with 550 cord. If you guys remember seeing those, one of those wound up, I had to throw it away and start over because I was trying to do I wanted to do like a Scotch-Brite satin on the blade, and I got it too far over because I'd already ground the blade, so I couldn't have it so that it was coming down like you would when you're grinding a blade, because it'd just catch. And so I was going the other way so that I had the edge down, and I got that angle wrong, and it just fucking recurved that blade, and I was like, oh fuck. I still have that. I have that chunk somewhere. I thought about keeping it and using it for something else. Apparently God does not want me to do things for you guys today. I can't go anywhere because I'm waiting on a customer to come at 11. And I have to be here to sign for a package that's coming. It's just, it's never good. Mondays are never good. Like, I never get much done on Mondays. It's always like Tuesday through Thursday, I can fucking knock out a ton of shit. It's like always Monday. Monday winds up, I'm thinking about just taking Sunday and Monday off every week and starting to give myself actual time off, because I sharpened knives yesterday, even though it was raining, because it wasn't as cold and it was nowhere near as windy. So I think that might wind up being it just depends. Like, if the weather's good and I can fucking do stuff, yeah, I'll get stuff done, but I am at the mercy of the elements at the moment. So maybe this will be a longer feed. I do know that I need to go and make sure that my wife knows what time it is. So if you guys want to come with me for a minute. And I've got to take the dog for a walk as soon as she gets up.
Yuka, did you set an alarm? Okay.
They went to the ice rink early this morning. Possible to take Okay, don't do anything to it yet. Don't do anything to it yet. Go back. Tell me that over again. Let me see. Wait, don't tell me. Let me. Is it possible to take a pivot screw on a Ferrum Forge out? Yes, you can. And now the blade is heavily off center, but I can't take part. So before you do that, all right. First things first. It's off center because of the thermal coefficient of titanium. So what has probably happened is that it's hot. It stayed hot. Just let it cool the fuck back down. And if it stays off center, then I will, then I would say, yes, maybe try and tighten your pivot screw. I wouldn't say loosen it. I would say tighten it just a little bit. But I'm going to teach, there's a trick. Let me grab one of my Ferrum Forges. So, they have a single-sided pivot. And yes, this will spin because it's been Loctited. So, not a few days, just give it like an hour or so. But what I would say, before you do that, it's been like 2 days, as far as I think the Loctite and the pivots. Yeah, there's Loctite in a pivot, but that's not a big deal. It's a titanium knife. Take a lighter, heat your pivot screw back up. Like, get it hot. Once it's hot, give it a minute. Let that heat soak through. Take the knife, open it. Take the heel of your hand and put it on this side right here. Take your fingers, get it against your, in my case, significant girth. Put it in an angle so that you're putting tension this way. And what happens is it pinches that pivot between the blade and the handle, and it allows you to stop that from spinning, and you just loosen it first and then tighten it down. And if you feel it spinning, set it down, give it a little bit more heat, and do it all over again. Yes, if you're not used to doing it, do it for safety's sake. I do it all the time. I've never cut myself, knock wood. But especially if it's one of my knives, you would want to do that. This knife is ridiculously sharp, by the way. So, I actually am going to have to take this apart, though, and refinish it because I carry this enough that I am starting to get a little bit of rust right here. You can rust 20 CV. If you carry this and you sweat, like I'll carry it in my pocket and be out there just sweating, and it's on the side that is going to be exposed to the sweat. Where are you at, though? That's the question, because if you send it back, the boys will fix it. If you're a first-time owner and the warrant, they'll if you bought that, oh fuck, that's right, you are. Chris and Elliot, they have done videos on how to take apart both their in-house knives and the Ferrum Forge design knives. Find that and see if they've got something on there that, here's my flashlight. Been looking for the same for 2 days. It's been in the pocket of these pants. So we'll just keep this live feed going because it's raining. It's raining hard. It's coming in waves, so it'll rain real hard and then stop, and it'll rain real hard for it'll rain real hard for a minute, and it'll stop for like 30 seconds, and it'll rain real hard again. I'm not even gonna try and go out there. It's wet and nasty. Here, I'll show you. It's raining hard enough that this is why I don't. My can. If you look, it's all wet out there. Everything underneath the canopy is wet. Even that, the only thing that's keeping that dry is the workbench itself. But my stool is wet because it was out here until about half an hour ago when I kicked it up underneath the thing. It's just, But see, the weather's weird. So it's raining. It's raining there, but it's not raining there. So yeah, I think today's going to be a wash. But like I said, I have things that I need to do that are not sharpening. So I need to go through that stuff. I've got stuff here that I did extra work on that people need to pay me for. Oh, that's what I was going to do. I was going to put the mystery boxes, start getting those mystery boxes together. And I got to pack Dwayne's stuff up to ship out. I got 2 other knives that I'm going to get packed up to ship out that I worked on yesterday morning. I didn't sharpen Nico's knives that I told him I was going to sharpen because they're still in my car, but these were ones that got refinished and needed done. So I'll pack that stuff all up today. That's part of what I'll do. But there's no rush on that. Ooh, it's getting dark. It's cold in here, guys. It's still only 58 degrees outside. It's probably only like 60, 62 degrees in the house. This house does not, when it stays cold, because it was cold all day yesterday, cold and windy and rainy, and it's cold and windy and rainy today, this house starts, once the temperature starts to drop, it's cold in here. I think I'll get some fuzzy Mickey Mouse slippers, wear them around the house. Oh, on top of that, everything hurts, guys. This is that one that I had surgery on, and it just aches when it rains. Had 3 surgeries on it. It just hurts when it rains. And if you look when I'm standing, I don't know if you guys ever noticed, that side hangs down differently than this one. It's called drooping shoulder. It comes from having had a lot of it comes from the neck injury that I had when I fractured my spine. It caused a bunch of other musculature and issues and stuff, and now my shoulder droops. And then on top of that, my collarbone ends right here. They cut my collarbone. First surgery I had on it, they took my collarbone off. Second surgery, I reattached my bicep. Third surgery, they reattached the tendon back here and fixed that huge, massive tear in the labrum that I had. So, what the hell was that? Guys, it's windy enough that I'm gonna have to go out and shift the position of that canopy. My anchors did not hold it. It drug the, that's why it looks weird. Obviously it drug the weight. I have a cinder block tied to it on this side, and it drug it across the yard. I was like, it looks like it's that way. It is exactly that way. So, I mean, there's a couple things. There's a couple things I can work on. I gotta work on, Nico's dad bought some Shun kitchen knives. They're fairly nice knives. I'm not a fan of the handles on them, but some fairly nice kitchen knives, but the edges on them are not great. There's a lot of chipping in that. He used it. That's first thing I do with pretty much any kitchen knife. I put a new edge on it because they're thin knives to begin with, and then they've got a pretty aggressive grind and stuff like that on them. So, and it came with the Batman tape. You guys hear that water hitting the ground out there? Yuck. Yeah, pretty sure that today's a wash. So we'll just hang out here for a while. Transfer some money. Jeff, if you're watching, I appreciate the donation to the daughter's GoFundMe. It came through yesterday. And Charles Anderson, if you're still there in Sweden, they're right here. There's 2 of them. I know there were 4, so I don't know how these two. One of these was my daughter found it. Apparently, when I was packing stuff up and had moved stuff back and forth, your stuff had spent so much time here. One of these fell out of the box and managed to get kicked under the couch. My daughter found it when she was looking for a colored pencil. This is the one that I think this one had been missing for a while because it was under the couch. This one was the one that I found here on the counter after I shipped your stuff. When I came back and I moved some stuff, and I was like, shit. That's Charles's. So there's 2 of them. At least there's 2 of them there. So next time I send you stuff, it's here. But these are cool. This is Continue Mission is let's read this. These are It says Continue Mission, no veteran left behind. Continue Mission is a Utah nonprofit that helps veterans by hosting recreational activities, building camaraderie, and helping folks with PTSD. They're also heavily involved in mental health awareness and suicide prevention. In 2017, Blade HQ customers raised $15,000 in donations and allowed Continued Mission to serve 1,962 veterans and support members. You are amazing. This leather tag will continue the tradition of helping veterans with the, it's hard to read it because it's still inside the bag. With the profits from the sale going straight to Continue Mission, they use 96% of your donations for veterans programs and 4% for overhead. Thank you for supporting Continue Mission. For more information, visit www.continuemission.org. So thank you for supporting that. I appreciate that. Let's see here. Nah, bro, I'll send them to you. I mean, here's the thing. I appreciate the fact that you even bought these. And so, I've got no use for them. They will sit, these would sit in a drawer just like they are right now. Just like a ton of other stuff that the wife and I went through yesterday, and we got rid of a bunch of stuff. I could do that. I will do that for you. So what probably happened, just so you know, is it got hot. And then you played with it, and it allowed, because once that fucking Loctite gets hot, it liquefies, it like melts, and then it probably set again, and then your pivot screw was in a different position. Mug pie. What the fuck is mug pie? I finally, my hands, I did so much work last week, guys. My hands actually are swollen. Were swollen to the point I could not get, even this massive wedding ring, could not get it on my hand. My hands hurt so bad from doing, I refinished 5 knives on Friday and 2 more on Saturday, trying to get stuff off of my plate. Nice thing was they were already sharpened. So if I don't do any blade work, what's up, Chris? If I'm not doing any blade work, then if I'm not doing any blade refinishing, I can sharpen them ahead of time, put tape on the blade, take them apart, put them in the tub, all that stuff. So yeah, there's like, well, that, and I told you guys, I stopped taking my injectable meds. Hang on a second, I'll show you. I opened one of these. There it is. So, I have to give myself, yes, it is, but I have to give myself one of these every 2 weeks. It's an immunosuppressor for my autoimmune disorder, and I needed to do this anyway because I had to pull this shit out of the bag. Yeah, the box takes up space. And so I had came off of them for a long time, and then I started having a lot of problems, and the doctor was like, yeah, you know what? He's like, I know that we were managing it with diet. I was only eating once a day, and I still am only pretty much eating once a day, unless I'm really, really fucking hungry. Your body tells you when you need to eat. But a lot of times I'll still only eat if I eat lunch. There's a lot of times I don't eat supper. But so at any rate, your body tells you what it needs. Just like if you ever craved something and you're like, oh fuck, I really want a pickle. You're like, why do I want pickles? I do not have rheumatoid arthritis. I have an autoimmune disorder called ankylosing spondyloarthropathy, also known as bamboo back. So what it does is it's a hardening of the connective tissue in the spine. And basically at some point you lose all mobility in your back, but you can manage it with this a little bit. It prevents the pain and some of the damage, but not all of it. There's just no way to prevent the damage that this disease does. But it also affects other things, joints in your hands, joints in your feet. It can make your immune system attack your eye. So it's you have to take it. So I have already got some fused vertebrae in my lower spine, which is why I have lower back pain. But we had thought maybe I could come off of it because it seemed like my numbers, because they do what's called an RA panel, rheumatoid arthritic panel, an RA panel, and it shows the inflammation numbers and in your body. And so mine was really high, and I had kept it really low. I'd kept it really low until, because I was managing it with diet and weed. Weed was doing a very good job, but then I hit the spike where everything started to hurt, and I was like, I gotta go see the doctor. I was telling you guys, I was having pain in my hip, weird places. Like I was like, that shouldn't be hurting. And so not only was I concerned because we do have a family history of cancer, and so I was like, I have a family disease, a family history of cancer. So if I'm having this like pretty intense, irritating pain, because I have a really high pain tolerance, and if it's bothering me, there's probably something wrong. And so I talked to the doctor, and we looked at my my blood work, and he goes, yeah, you're gonna have to go back on the injectables. And problem is, there's a laundry list of side effects that go with these meds. I'm much more susceptible to infection. I got to be really careful. If my daughter's at all sick, I will get really sick. I get pink eye at the fucking drop of a hat. Like somebody could sneeze and I'll get pink eye because there's no happy medium. Either my immune system is up here, and this is where normal people are. So it's either up here or it's down here. So there's just no happy medium. So, and if you guys have got kids, you know how sick you guys get, how often you guys get sick without taking immunosuppressors. And the other thing too is this shit really burns. Yeah. I'm surprised you didn't get the pink eye from the daikon radish. Bro, that shit's amazing. What's up, Ashton? Bro, the Dino Biscuits out of the vape is completely different than it was out of the bong. Like the bong, I got uncomfortably like panicky, jittery, nervous, overly high. Out of the vape, it was great. It was much more mellow, much more what I was looking for. And so out of that vape, it's great. I finished off the stuff that you left in the little tube. I finished off the rest of the stuff that we ground up that day. It was really good. Oh yeah, they're good, right? I have your Lion Spy. It's in the car. I'm not gonna go out there. I don't have to, because I gotta open the garage to go out. I have it. I sent you pictures of the blade. I haven't sharpened it yet, but it's done. The last thing I gotta do with all your stuff is sharpen it, and then I'll ship it back to you. So, and then here's the thing, guys. I have some knives that Nico are trying to figure out what we're gonna do. We've got like 3 knives here that we're talking about selling. It just depends. Oh yeah, Ashton got to see it. I had not blasted it yet though. When Ashton showed up, that's the one I blasted, Ashton, and took and tossed into the sprinkles, into the tumbler, and left it overnight. So now I forget what I was talking about. Yeah, it was in. That was the one I tumbled forever, and then I refinished a Ray Laconico. I did 5 knives. So I did the Ray Laconico. I did that one. I did a black blade on a smaller knife for a guy. I can't remember what one it was. It was not one that I was used to seeing. Let's see. And I did the orange peel on that buck, and all I have to do is customer was like, it's okay, but can we just do the pocket clip black? And I was like, yeah, we can do that. That's not that big a deal. So I'm going to take it back up. The orange peel came out great. It is. You can feel it. Like Ashton felt it. It feels like the skin of a football. That's how deep I did the orange peel on that. A lot of times I'll just do an orange peel, just you can see it, but like you really can't. But this guy wanted something different. And I was trying to match a finish on a Borka, and I don't know what they used to do the orange peel, but it was like waves as opposed to like the actual orange peel. It looked more like lines. And Nick Shabazz shared your experience taking apart a lion steel knife, crazy tight fittings. Those Italians, check it out. It was no joke. I actually, the only way to get that lion spy apart, I was trying to get the back piece off, and so I gotta tell you, Chris, that do you want me to refinish the little button on the end for the pocket clip? Because it was so tight trying to get that tool it slipped off a couple times and it scratched. And I actually had to use a pair of parallel pliers to clamp on the end of it to break it loose so that I could use that tool. It was in there so fucking tight. And then, but now once I got it, it was no Loctite. It was just in there that tight. So when I put it back together, I'll Loctite it. Do you want me to bead blast that so you don't see the scratches on it? Yeah. And then the other thing too was to get it apart, to actually get the pieces apart. All the screws were out. Everything was out. I had to take a chisel and wrap it with electrical tape to make a pry bar so that I could work my way up in there, and then do the same with a thin bladed screwdriver, wrap it with electrical tape. Then once where the two pieces, where the backspacer would be, like that's where it was milled in, and wiggle it and pry that and not screw up the finish. I've never had another knife except for a Brian Nadeau Sharp by Design that was that tight and hard to get apart. It was, I don't, it's not as hard to get apart oh guys, yeah. So Ashton has got a Archbishop 2.0 he's getting ready to sell. It's a 2.0, right? Or is it Fortis 2.0? Which one is it? He sent me some pictures of it. If you guys want one, because I know that they are getting hard to come by, let me know and I'll get you in touch with Ashton. Archbishop, it's an Archbishop 2.0. I will get you in touch with this gentleman, and you guys can work out a price. I told him I'd do that. He sent me some pictures. So, but he's getting a con, and he wants to just move a couple things to make room for it. I will never sharpen Maximet. It's not that I can't do it. Big Brown Bear and I talked about it. So Sean and I have talked about it, and I won't do it. And it's not that I can't do it, because now I've got stuff that you basically need that stuff. So he's getting one made. Elliot had some parts. Oh fuck, I lost my train of thought. Oh, so anyway, I've got the stuff. I got the stuff that I can sharpen it with, and I could do it. But the fact is, it takes so long. It's just not, it's not a viable thing for me to do. It's not a good business choice. Now, Sean loves to sharpen Maximet and Rex 121. And so Sean and I have a deal. Anybody that wants Maximet or Rex 121 sharpened, I send them to him. So if you guys do want, if you do happen to have Maximet, if you do need Maximet sharpened, I can get you in touch with Sean. It's just basically, we have a gentleman's agreement. I'm going to send him stuff. He doesn't want, he's a knife maker, not a professional knife sharpener. We're exactly the opposite. So yeah, the diamond matrix stones to sharpen Maximet. Yeah, you can do it. It just takes a long time. And it's just, for me, the amount of time it takes, and to do that's where you run into problems, is I do that convex edge, and the convex edge, I think, is what does it. It's that shifting of angles, and it just breaks it. It breaks it off. So we've got an agreement. He doesn't want to be a knife sharpener, but he definitely will sharpen one or two there. So, Bronx, same here at home, what? Matrix stones. Yeah, it just wants to chip. I tried it, and I'm not gonna say, you know, I may have said that it's a fucking garbage steal and stuff like that. But I think if you're using a fixture, it might work well. Maybe you could probably get that good, but not the way I do it. It's just, it's not a good idea to do it that way on Maximet. I am gonna sharpen this though. I don't know about that, Charles. I do know that it is really high in tungsten. It's not. I mean, I have to be able to do, like today is not conducted with my business plan, but it's okay because I do have other things I need to do. And I do need to go pick up my other medicine. So I'm probably going to go back to the clinic. They had one of my other meds they did not have. We're trying to, there's a medicine that goes along with the injectables that's not like, when I first got diagnosed, they put me on, oh, pasta sauce was great. And so when you guys think about it, like somebody was telling me, it's like, oh, just buy this, it's $8 a bottle for this spaghetti sauce. And like a canned spaghetti sauce, I really don't like very many canned sauces. We use them because it's easy. We use them because it's easy, because a lot of times there's no, what's up, Matthias? There's a lot of times that my wife doesn't have time to make a sauce. And she told me, she's like, I've never made pasta sauce from scratch like that. And I was telling her what all we did. And she's like, well, why did it take so long? I was like, if you don't cook it long enough, you still have a lot of the acidity from the tomatoes. The longer you cook it, the more you break down that acid, the more the acidic flavor turns into a sugary sweet flavor. And she's like, did you add sugar to this? Because it's nice. I was like, no, I added no sugar. I added tomatoes, basil, I had added pesto and stuff like that. I don't even like starting with, because it starts too sweet. Like ragu and prego, they start too sweet. And then by the time you've cooked it and stuff like that, then it's overly sweet and you've got syrup. Oh, I love the first batch of that sauce I made when I was trying that recipe from the guy. I got actual good vine ripened tomatoes, and I used the torch to heat up the outside, chilled them in cold water, peeled the skins off, cut the end off, threw them in, and boiled them, cooked them until, you know, I cooked them down. I cut them up and I cooked them down, and then I crushed them by hand after they cooled. And I did everything from scratch, but they did not have any tomatoes that were worth a fucking shit anywhere to make the sauce the way I wanted. So I used the canned San Marzano tomatoes, which that's what most people use anyway. And it actually made, I didn't have to cook it near as long. I still cooked it from, there's the sun and it's raining. Rainbow. I actually cooked it from 8 when we started the live feed. Me and my daughter started cooking at 8, and I did the shallots and the shallot and the red onions. It's always the best. I did the shallot and onion in the red wine, and then, Jesus, that is bright. There we go. We did the shallot and the onion, my daughter and I, and then I wound up from 8 o'clock till 12:30 or so, cooking that sauce, and then I cooled it in a sink full of cool water so that I could put it in the refrigerator without overtaxing the refrigerator. Then I let it sit until 7 o'clock the next morning. I put it in from 7 in the morning till 10 and finished cooking it down. And that's when it was like, after that, it was great. I didn't add any more salt. I think I used maybe a teaspoon of salt, but there was a lot of bacon, a lot of garlic, and things like that. And I didn't need to add any salt. And it came out, it was sweet, but not too sweet. It was thick, but not too thick. And the black olives, I chopped up the black olives real fine. The bacon and black olives, like, it's not like you could pick out a specific flavor in the sauce. It was like everything was married together. It was just one flavor. Like you would bite into something, you couldn't bite in and say, hey, that was a piece of olive, or hey, that was a piece of bacon. Oh, it was chunky, bro. It was chunky as shit. We just hand crushed the tomatoes, and that's what we used. Well, it was more of an Italian style. It was all done by hand. So there's enough of it. We're probably gonna have to freeze some of it. So, and then we were gonna cook the pasta in wine, but no one was sure how they were gonna like it. So I just cooked the pasta. And the key, coming from a guy that's part Italian, the key to, like, people are like, dude, my pasta was just like, the sauce was okay, but it was just so blah. Well, it's because most people just put a little bit of salt in their water. No, you want that shit salty, like salty enough you can taste it. Like, oh yeah, that's kind of salty. That's how salty the water should be. And you put the salt in before it boils, and it goes, and then you get flavor in the noodles. And then you use the pasta water, leave a little bit of the water with the noodles. Yeah, it should. It should taste almost as, not quite as salty as that. And so you cook it, and then that starch that comes out, use a little bit, like maybe a tablespoon of that water. Just keep it in the pasta. And then when you add your sauce, it doesn't get watery. And you also, before, yes, you finish cooking it in the pasta, in the sauce. We didn't do that last, so we put it on top. It was quicker because there's not a lot of room in this kitchen. But what you do is, I didn't do it last night either because we didn't have any actual butter. A pat of butter on top of the noodles, toss them in with the sauce, let that, melt that into the noodles. Then you put the sauce and everything in a pan and you mix the sauce together and you finish cooking the noodles in the hot sauce in a pan with butter and a little bit of the water, and it keeps it thicker and it gets that buttery flavor, and your noodles have got some taste to them, and the sauce, it's perfect. Perfect. Like if I was doing it for just me and the wife and the kid, instead of me, the wife, the kid, Nico, Bridget, fucking, I would have probably done it that way, but it would have taken forever. Nobody would have been able to. You'd have to do each one in a batch by itself. Fuck, it's windy. My canopy's trying to take off like a kite. Ashley, you need to come over sometime. I've got some. If you come over, because we may eat it all soon. See, the sun went away again. It fucking gets windy, and I'm just pretty sure today's not gonna be. Yes. I got pretty nap timey after, but that's because my knee's been bothering me. This weather, my knee's been bothering me a lot. And so right after dinner last night, yeah, today's weird. Are you getting it too? Like it's like, hey, it's sunny, and then it just pisses on you. So my knee hurt bad enough last night. I took some of that. I took five mils of that weed juice that I make and added it to some apple juice, and I drank it. And like 15 minutes, it was right before Bridget and Nico left. So like 15 minutes later, I was like, oh, hey, that's better. And then I was like, because that weed juice, it sucks everything out of the bud. So all that CBN and shit that's in it, and it stems and all of that stuff. And I was like, I'm suddenly real sleepy. Suddenly real sleepy. I have found nothing better when my joints start to hurt than just adding some of that to apple juice and drinking it. And then, like, I was sleepy, but I didn't go to sleep till fucking almost 1. And I was like, nothing hurts when you use that stuff. It kills the pain so much because it's all the CBN, all the CBD, everything. Yeah, and you get it quick because it's not adhered to an oil that you got to break down. It's not, the carrier is alcohol, not oil. It's not an oil-based carrier. So it takes a lot less time for you to absorb it. It's not like eating a gummy. Like a gummy, you're looking at like an hour. And gummies, for some reason, the stuff that is bound with oil, I don't even get anything from it. No, because it's a pain in the ass to make. It takes a while to make it. And you can only make like a couple cups of it at a time. But if you do it right, you don't need a lot of it. So the next thing is we're going to figure out what those crystals are. Ashton, I'm afraid. I'm almost afraid to do it. I'm going to taste them, but I was like, are they sweet? Are they salty? Ben's still pretty young, and I don't think he's anywhere where it's legal. But it's great for, it's like the best thing I've found for pain. And if you can't sleep, that shit will make you're gonna go to sleep. But the whole thing is I don't wake up with that, yeah. So if you guys ever like smoke so much weed, you wake up the next day and you're just like, like the weed hangover, the burn over. I don't get that from that. I wake up the next day and I feel great. I slept great. It's fucking great. I have a piece of metal in my finger that I can't get out. So, well, ladies and gentlemen, I gotta go make sure my wife does get up. I will talk to you guys later. I might do a video later. I might do another live feed. Who knows? Just depends on what's going on. But like I said, I've got a bunch of admin stuff to do, and I gotta dig my tools out and see if I've got the right tools for that Microtech. If not, the guy said he's willing to buy them. So he wants me to refinish the Wharncliffe, what the hell was it? The sigil. It's a Marfian custom sigil. So, guys, later. Yeah, I'll be there this week. I got a lot of stuff to do, but there's no reason if you want to stop by the house sometime you can't, that you cannot. You're welcome to stop by the house sometime. Maybe your wife can swing by and meet my wife. I was telling my wife about your wife, Ashton. So, all right, guys, take it easy. I'll talk to you later. Where's the button? Can't find the button. There it is. Later, guys.